Welcome to SJS Arts. So this is another episode of Cinema Years, and today I'm gonna cover 1997. So 1997 is actually my year of birth. I was born in March 11th, 1997, so I will turn 27 in less than 2 months. I kind of feel quite old already. Yeah, even though I shouldn't. Yeah, but anyway, I was inspired to pick this year because Ronin mentioned that he might make a video of his year of birth, 1974. So I was just thinking that maybe I'll do my year of birth next. And I think this is like a fairly good cinema year, so it's good in that way too. And I think I'm gonna add a new thing to this format. So I think I'm gonna in each episode just mention what is my number one favorite film. I'm pretty sure I forgot to mention that last time. And then maybe I'll say which is like the underrated gem of the year, if that's applicable. And perhaps what is the, in my opinion, like an overhyped film. Although we'll see if I do that because that's something that makes people angry. But anyway, let's just go through these films quickly, and then again in the end I will show the films, some of the popular films that I haven't seen from this year. And you can also recommend me films from this year, and you can also say if there is something here that I should maybe watch again and reconsider my rating for it or something. But yeah, this first one is a big highlight of the year for me. It's Wong Kar-wai's Happy Together, one of my favorite gay films of all time, my favorite Wong Kar-wai film. Also, it's very melancholic, quite sad depiction of this relationship, but it's also very beautiful in that great Wong Kar-wai way. And I've seen it twice, and both times it blew me away. But especially on the second time, it really blew me away even more. And great performances as well. Tony Leung is so great in it, just like Peaches, my viewer Peaches. Would say as he is such a huge fan of him, even more than me. But Tony Leung is so great in it. But Taste of Cherry is another huge masterpiece. Um, so it's a Abbas Kiarostami film, one of his most famous, if not his most famous film. It's about a man who wants to commit a suicide, and then he consults these people about that, which is very interesting plot. Although as it is Kiarostami, it kind of turns that plot on its head at some point in the movie. But I'm not gonna spoil it if you haven't seen it. But such a beautiful movie, very interesting movie. Yeah, both in terms of the subject matter, but also structurally and in that meta element that it has. Hanabai is my favorite Takeshi Kitano film. I absolutely adore this film. It's kind of a crime drama. It has that Kitano's painterly style. It's absolutely beautiful looking film, very bright looking film, even though it's quite dark. And there is these small moments of like really graphic violence and the ending. I love the ending when we kind of hear what happens to the characters, but we don't see it. I think that was a very clever way to end the film. But yeah, I love absolutely everything about it. It has a Joe Hisaishi score as well, which is very beautiful. Then we have David Lynch's Lost Highway, one of his best films, and I'm a Lynch fanboy, and this film I've seen 4 times now, and I love it. Front to back, Mystery Man is so creepy. This has very interesting soundtrack from David Bowie to Rammstein to this Mortal Coil. It's just a very kind of eclectic mix, to say the least. Yeah, but quite creepy movie. But it's actually a movie that it isn't as complex as you think on your first watch. It kind of makes sense when you take a particular lens to it, and if you look at it from that kind of psychoanalytical lens of and think about masculinity and impotence and things like that. Yeah. Then we have the Neon Genesis Evangelion, the end of Evangelion. So this is the film that is kind of like the end of the series. The original series, of course, they've also been making like more films since that I haven't seen yet. But this is such a beautiful film visually. The poster here kind of shows like a very beautiful sequence in the film. Love that stuff. And it's all the Neon Genesis Evangelion stuff is so dense and complex, and I've only seen it once, so I still need to watch it more times to understand it better. Then we have the Berserk series that has one of the most brutal endings of all time. I've also been reading the Berserk manga. I'm not finished yet, but I've gone past the series ending, and the manga is even like way better than the series because it's the manga is probably the best manga ever. It's just visually definitely the best I've ever read, and also the story with all its darkness and philosophical undertones with great characters. It's just so amazing. But I think this series is also really, really good that this was my introduction to Berserk. But since I've been getting into the manga is definitely the way to go. Carrier Girls, I think it's one of Mike Lee's best films. This might actually be my pick for the underrated film, although I'm not gonna say for certain yet. I'll say it in the end when I've gone through all of them. But this is one that many people don't talk about. But I love the relationship between these women. It's very relatable, very normal, very touching. It has all the great Mike Lee elements in it. Princess Mononoke is one of the best Studio Ghibli films. It's one of those films that has in the as the theme the again man's relationship with nature. It's one of the I mean many of his films explore that, but this maybe explores that in the best way. Then a Finnish film called Neito Perho, The Collector, one of my favorite films of all time. Also quite underrated and unknown, but that's more maybe because it hasn't been really released outside of Finland. And I think this is probably one of the first films in Finland, if not the first, that showcased the lesbian relationship and didn't make like a big deal about it. It was just kind of there as something completely normal, and that's really good representation. But it's about this young woman who has like awful mental illness, and she doesn't necessarily mean bad, but she does bad things because she doesn't kind of understand the consequences and she doesn't understand what she's doing. But it's kind of a thriller in that way, psychological thriller. Boogie Nights is a really good PTA film, although I'm sure whether I'm gonna watch this again anytime soon, but I've seen it a couple of times and it's the only film where I can at least stand Mark Wahlberg. I usually hate his cuts, but here he's like okay, but although would have probably liked the film more with a different actor, but at least he doesn't make me want to kill myself when I see him here, like he usually does in films like The Departed, for example. Then we have Chia Changke's Pickpocket. This might have been his first feature film. It's very, very good. Quite relevant. I also as it is about this kind of aimless young guy, so it fits like the current world and current social problems in a really good way as well. Love Jones is a beautiful love story. Really enjoyed this one. Great characters. They have great chemistry. Very enjoyable story. Yeah, like that one a lot. The Ice Storm is a very good Ang Lee film. I don't remember that much about it, but I remember liking it a lot. Then we have the first Petro Costa film I ever watched, which is Ossos. It's also my least favorite, although very good. And as it is one of his early stuff, it has a like a very disgusting vibe, and the visuals look a bit different than his later, bit more kind of expressionist stuff. Then we have the Sweet Hereafter by Adam Egoyan. Good stuff. Then we have Chiming Liang's The River. It's that basic Chiming Liang film, not much happens in it, but still very entertaining in that slow cinema way. And yeah, Insomnia. So this is the original Insomnia, which is a good Nordic thriller, but it's not necessarily the type of film that I would return to, but it's good for what it is. Then the original Funny Games, which is pretty disturbing, but I don't really love it that much. Perfect Blue was one of the first kind of very serious anime films that I watched, and but back then I wasn't as much into anime, so I feel like I would like it way more now. And I've watched other Satoshi Kon films since, and I really like those a lot. And many people say that this is Satoshi Kon's best film, so I really want to watch this again soon. Good Will Hunting is a good mainstream film. Really like Robin Williams in it, and Matt Damon is well, he's kind of okay, I guess. I mean, he's never great, but he's okay. Here it's a very touching story, also some funny scenes like the bar scene where he's kind of educating that pompous asshole, and yeah, it's a kind of funny scene, I guess. And not a huge fan of Ben Affleck. He's kind of in that Mark Wahlberg level of actors to me that just seeing him kind of makes me annoyed, to be honest. But he isn't that annoying here. Yeah, I think he got more annoying as he's gotten older. Greenfish is the first Lee Chang-dong film. It isn't as good as his later work, but still very good, and you can see the potential here. Then we have Kiyoshi Kurosawa's Cure, which is a very classic, kind of modern classic thriller film. I know many people like really love this even way more than I do, but I still like it a lot. But this is one that I also need to rewatch because I feel like I might like it more now. Serial killer thing and things like crime thriller of this kind, it's just not my favorite thing these days. It used to be when I was a teenager, but not as much anymore. LA Confidential is one of the better American crime films of the 1990s. The Game is a very interesting Fincher film. I like it quite a lot. Life is Beautiful is one of those world cinema films that everybody watches, even if they are against watching films with subtitles. But yeah, it's good, but there are definitely way better films, international films, if you want to look for them, and if you want to open your mind. As Good as It Gets is a really fun Jack Nicholson film. It's that kind of Hollywood trash in many ways, and I'm not sure why the main female character wants to be with Jack Nicholson. But yeah, Jack Nicholson gives such a fun performance here, and it's a really fun and feel good movie. It's good for Friday night when you want to relax. Face Off is actually like a top tier action film for me. I actually love this one a lot. Such a fun movie, and I've for some reason I really like John Travolta in action films. I really like him a lot, and Nicolas Cage obviously is a fun uh, actor as well. And this is probably John Woo's best American film. Donnie Brasco is good. Don't really remember anything about it. Jackie Brown, I think many more serious cinephiles usually say that Jackie Brown is their favorite Tarantino film, but the more casual Tarantino fans say often like Inglourious Basterds or Django Unchained. But to me, I also, I guess, side more with the casual Tarantino fans, and I like the some of his kind of usual stuff more than this one that kind of goes out of his usual stuff a bit. The Fifth Element I watched a few times as a kid and liked it back then. My father was a big fan of this, but I don't really remember much about it, so cannot really comment on it. Chasing Amy, it's okay. Saw the director giving autographs in BFI South Bank in London. Just very randomly, I had seen some movie in the theater, and then when I was walking through the lobby, I saw, oh fuck, that's Kevin Smith giving autographs randomly. Like I didn't know that he was there, but I just, oh fuck, like he's there. Yeah. The Cat of the Worms Green Realm, Doodlebug, Yggdrasil, whose roots are stars in the human mind. In and Out is this pretty fun, gay comedy with all kinds of stupid stereotypes, as it is a mainstream Hollywood film from the 90s, so you kind of expect that, but it's still fun even though it has stupid stereotypes in it and stuff like that. Affliction is a Paul Schrader film that is like fairly highly regarded, but I didn't like it that much. It's not bad either, but I just can't take Nick Nolte serious after I saw him in the Hulk film and also when I saw him in The Warrior, because he gives such ridiculous performances in those that I since that I just haven't been able to take him seriously, even though this is more of a serious role. Titanic I actually like quite a bit in that kind of entertainment way. I don't think it's a great movie or anything, but it's was entertaining. Yeah, and it was more entertaining than what I thought it would be before I watched it. Starship Troopers, 3 stars is just from memory because I've only seen this as a kid, so I don't really have a current opinion about it. But I just for some reason put it as 3 stars. So, but I will watch it again at some point. Air Force One was a childhood favorite. I watched it on VHS a few times as a child, and I Love this type of action movie, so I need to rewatch this at some point. Con Air, fun action movie. The Land Before Time films were kind of childhood favorites as well. I really loved them and had a big emotional connection to them. The second Jurassic Park film, The Lost World, not very good. I'm not the biggest fan of the first one either, so but I like the first one. Alien Resurrection is a pretty bad movie. Anaconda, haven't seen it since I was a kid, but I remember it being fun. I think Peach has even recommended it to me once when I was talking about like childhood favorites, but then I said that I had already seen it. Scream 2, I don't remember anything about it. Men in Black, actually don't really remember anything about it. Tomorrow Never Dies. Yeah, I don't really like Bond movies, but I actually like the Pierce Brosnan films a bit more than some of the others. I Know What You Did Last Summer. Stupid horror movie. Liked it as a kid though. Yeah, this is like some Mr. Bean movie. Don't remember anything about it. That is one of the History du Cinema episodes from Godard, and there's another one at the end. Um, yeah. Then we have the animated Hercules, which I liked as a kid. I remember I had some video game for this as well, which I liked. I haven't thought of that game in such a long time, but now suddenly it just popped into my head. Yeah, I remember there was this part I was like there's green grass and I was jumping around and I don't know what I was supposed to do in that game because it's been such a long time, like 2 decades since I played it. But I guess I was supposed to collect something or something like that. But I remember playing it now. That's something I've literally not think about for like probably like 20 years, but now it just suddenly popped into my head. It's funny when those types of things happen. Batman and Robin haven't seen since I was a kid. My father actually liked this one, even though okay, people hate this movie generally, but my father liked it. The Jackal, remember it being pretty awful. Power Rangers movie. I loved the Power Rangers as a kid, but yeah. So my favorite film of this year is Lost Highway, but Hannibal is the close second, probably. Then third one would be Taste of Cherry and then Happy Together, but yeah, Lost Highway. Then underrated film. Well, I guess it's Carrier Girls, probably. Yeah, it's so good and not many people talk about it, and it's often overshadowed by other Mike Lee films, even though maybe it shouldn't be. But those were the films from the 1997 that I have watched so far. So let me know your recommendations. But also we can look here and see what popular films I haven't seen from the year. So one is Gattaca. I think many people like this one. Um, The Devil's Advocate is a pretty big favorite, I think. Contact, Liar Liar, Event Horizon. Um, yeah, this Greg Araki film I really want to see. I actually have been meaning to watch this Spawn movie, even though I've heard that it's garbage, but I still want to see it. Children of Heaven is a pretty highly regarded film. The Rainmaker. Wasn't this one pretty? Yeah, Open Your Eyes. Yeah, Olive Flash. Eve Spy You got a Criterion release fairly recently. So yeah, Amistad. Yeah, so many films that I still need to watch from this year. Yeah. And I mean, I was also supposed to pick like an overhyped film, maybe. Um, well, as I'm not a huge Tarantino fan anymore, Jackie Brown comes to mind. Well, I could also say Life is Beautiful, even though I like that film. I also like Jackie Brown, but I just don't love them same way many other people do. And Titanic is overhyped in certain circles, but I still kind of enjoy that film. So there isn't something that like really angers me in the way that it's really overhyped. I mean, Good Will Hunting, if you put it into like greatest films of all time list, then I will kind of disagree with it. But it's a film that I enjoy quite a lot, so or at least used to enjoy. I haven't watched it in a very long time. But don't take the overhyped stuff too seriously. It's just my opinion, and I also respect if you really love these films. But anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know your favorite films from this year and the ones that I haven't seen yet. Let me know which year I should do next. Thanks for watching. Don't drink Coke at all. Sayonara and arigato gozaimashita.